Hey, welcome to Janktown. We do a lot of deck techs on this channel, so I thought it'd be fun to show these in actual play. Now before we jump in, it's time to make your picks. Who do you think comes out on top? Our story begins on turn 1. TY starts things off with an Evolving Wilds, and he's piloting his $100 budget Shadowfax, which you can check the deck tech primer out in the description below. It's aggressive and it cheats budget threats into play with this sneaky attacking horse. He finds the plains, then passes the turn. Gerald's playing Trynn Silvar, and it's a Mardu Humans deck that wants to get bloody with aggro and sacrifices. He plays an Alpine Meadow before passing. I'm giving it another go with Saruman, and you can check out my primer too in the description below. It wants to play multiple spells in a turn and cheat big non-creature threats in to snowball into card advantage. I play an Island followed by a Brainstone. Finally, Gian brought his 4-color mid-range Aragorn, which is really built for dual commander, but can hold more than its own in multiplayer. He has a lot of multicolored spells to gain a lot of extra effects as he steamrolls you with value plays. He plays the Aragorn Triome, then passes. TY plays a Mountain, followed by a Boros Signet. Gerald shocks in a Godless Shrine, and he then taps both lands to play a Lightning Greaves. The table reacts as a hasty aggro deck is something definitely worth putting on the watch list. I play a Drowned Catacomb, which comes into play untapped, then I follow it up with a turn 2 Soul Ring. Pretty good. I then try to one-up Gerald's Greaves as I play my own threat, As Foretold. I'm pretty happy with my setup here, and with nothing else to do, I shift the turn. Gian plays a Jetmir's Garden, and with all these tap lands, he simply passes. TY plays a Cathedral of War, a really good land in his deck because the Exalted pumps Shadowfax for free, and if you watch the primer, you know that we want to grow Shadowfax reliably, consistently, and efficiently. He follows this up with a Rumor Gatherer before passing. Gerald shocks another land in, Blood Crypt, and he continues to push forward with threats when he casts Adeline. Aw, jeez, man. He equips her with the Lightning Greaves, and the table has no responses. For combat, Adeline swings at me, and he actually misreads the card, thinking it only made 1 token. I tell him he actually creates 3, and the table freaks out at how aggressive Gerald's start is.
Oh my
Damn.
god.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I know. I hope you guys have answers.
Oh shit.
That's a problem.
Okay.
Gerald creates 3 1/1 swinging out at all his opponents, and I take 5 while TY and Gian take 1. He then declares that he's done. I uptick my As Foretold on my upkeep, then I move to my first main and play a Swamp. My turn 3 is a lot less impressive, and all I do is read the bones to look for answers. Reading the bones explains the bones, and these are not good bones. At least I get maximum value by scrying 2 to the bottom before drawing 2 and losing 2 life. I saw 4 cards, hey! Gian flexes his budget on us as he plays Savannah, and he plays multicolor all-star Generous Ferrous Rokirik, the most generous of the Ferruses. TY plays the Plains, and he's got some fighting words.
Time for y'all to get wrecked. Okay, it's gonna be 5 for the horse. Shadowfax.
Rumor Gatherer triggers, and he scries the 1, but he keeps it on top. No value for you. He enters combat though, and Shadowfax shows us the meaning of haste. The horse gets exalted, pumping its power to 5, then TY mulls it over before finally deciding to attack Gerald. Shadowfax's attack trigger cheats in Zerium Golden Wind, a griffin that I had never seen before this game, so 5 points to Gryffindor, I guess. Zerium enters, going at Gian, and Rumor Gatherer sees it enter and draws him a card. Gerald takes 5, Gian takes 3, and the damage trigger also creates TY a 2/2 Griffin with flying. Whew, that's already a lot happening on turn 4. Gerald plays a Mountain, and he asks us how many cards we have in hand. I swear, whenever I hear that question asked, I always think Jessica's Will. I try to bluff a counterspell in hand, and I don't know how effective that is, but he doesn't play it, if he really did have it. Instead, he puts down Serra Ascendant.
Oh no.
my god.
Oh
my
no.
god.
Someone's gaining oh my god, he's gonna move that boot.
A 6/6 flying lifelinker. Oh my god, I'm so outgunned. Yo, Serra Ascendant in 2023, I think he's still good. You know, 1 mana value for a 6/6. I don't know why people think this guy fell off. He doesn't move the boots though, and Gerald moves to combat where he swings just Adeline at TY. This creates 3 more humans, which TY blocks 1, but he takes the 8. While Gian and I take 1. For his second main, he plays Skull Clamp, and dang. Oh my
Oh
god.
no. Oh my god, the
Oh my
value.
god.
This is not just Janktown, this is Value Town. Oh,
Value Town. Gerald is really pulling no punches in this match. He equips it on a tapped soldier to draw 2, and before end turn, I crack my brain stone to look for a wipe or something to do. I draw 3 and I put 2 back. I kick off my turn, upticking As Foretold to 2, and I play an island. I cannot find white mana for the life of me, and so I do the anti-Gerald and just pass. 6 mana up, not suspicious at all. At least to make it seem like I did something on my turn, why don't you hit like and subscribe as everybody dings me through my turn. Gian plays a Scalding Tarn and cracks it as he searches out for Volcanic Island.
What's your
Joke
favorite
lang,
land base? Say
Yeah,
in the
what's your
comment. What's your favorite land base? Place your votes in the comment.
Yeah, it's a good question, T.Y. Comment below on whose land base you actually love the most. Gian plays a Ren in 6, and this triggers Rokirik, creating a 4-4 Golem. He then upticks Ren to get Scalding Tarn back to hand, before casting Voice of Resurgence, triggering Rokirik again and creating a second 4-4 Golem before passing. T.Y. kicks off turn 5 of the mountain, and he then plays Tenza Goto's Maul. He equips it to Zeria, making it a 6-7 flyer, and T.Y. assesses the field again as he enters combat. He identifies Adeline as a threat, maybe Ren as well, and even the table thinks I'm sus even though all I've done is read some bones and stone some brains.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just
yes,
chillin'.
yes.
Just chillin'.
I've heard that before.
I know.
I've heard that. I've heard that blue player.
I generally play control a lot, so yeah, I get it. I deserve that.
Life totals have to go down. I'll deal with the Ascendant next turn. Oh my god, those are gonna be like my last words in this world.
He swings Shadowfax at me and it gets exalted, making it a 5-5. It gets his attack trigger and a Sandstone Oracle enters into play, a 4-4 flying that'll restock his hand. T.Y. scries 1 from Rumor Gather, then he draws 3 from the Oracle, which is now going at Ren in 6. I have no blocks, but in response, I cast Press the Enemy, targeting the Sandstone Oracle and bouncing it back to hand, essentially saving Ren. Now for my free spell, since Sandstone Oracle costs 7, I get to play Breach the Multiverse.
Breach the multiverse. Nice. That's a play. That's for the viewers. That's what that is.
Each player mills 10, and boy, there are some good ones. I first deal Terror of the Peaks from TY, and this means that every creature that comes in after is gonna trigger some damage. I then put Hidetsugu and Kyrie Irving, rearranging my top 3 while shooting Shadowfax down. I also take Gian's Aragorn, giving me Monarch, and I also shoot Ascendant for 4. Lastly, I take Disciple of Bolas coming from Gerald, shooting the remaining 2 for Serra Ascendant. With the Disciple of Bolas coming into play, I sacrifice Kyrie and I reveal Windfall. In response to Windfall, TY casts a Path to Exile, exiling his own Terror to the Peaks. And because I just loaded my top deck, I declined to search for my land. Gian also evokes in Solitude, now exiling Adeline from his hand, and he targets his own Aragorn, gaining me 4 life. With 1 more open mana, TY plays out his Swords to Plowshares, exiling Gian's Voice of Resurgence, negating its dice trigger while Gian gains 2 life. So essentially, I built up this big board from Breach, but then got everything exiled in the same turn. And everybody draws 5 from Windfall. I draw another 5 from Disciple of Bolas, gaining me another 5 life. And that was just combat. TY moves to his second main, but since he's all tapped out, he just passes his turn. Gerald plays a Zendikar Expedition Marsh Flats and he cracks it to shock in a Sacred Foundry.
Say it in the comments. Whose land base do you like the most?
Yeah. Sacred Foundry.
Gerald then plays a Roar of Resistance and follows it up with Theoden, King of Rohan. Adeline's wearing the boots, so he gives a token double strike, but he then moves the Greaves over to Theoden before moving to combat. Theoden, Adeline, and 4 humans go at me, while Adeline creates a token for each opponent. 3 Theoden triggers go on stack, giving Adeline double strike as well as 2 other soldiers. I gotta block this Adeline, and so I take 9, bringing me down to 32, while both Gian and TY block the 1/1s coming at them. Gerald takes the Monarchy, and he moves the Greaves back to Adeline during his second main. On his end step, he draws for Monarch and passes the turn. On my turn, As Foretold goes up to 3 counters. I play an island, and I swear, I just can't find a white mana source. However, I do get to cast Propaganda for free, thanks to As Foretold, and I then play Thrix, the not-so-sudden storm. I then move to end step, discarding an island down to hand size. Gian plays a Reflecting Pool for his land, and he first upticks Ren to return Arid Maze to the hand, and he then taps 3 to cast Klothys, God of Destiny. Rokirik triggers again, creating a golem, and he then asks Gerald if he can take the Monarch, and Gerald agrees as the table tries to figure out how to kill me. He swings Mr. Generous Ferris, and Gerald lets it through, taking 3. Gian draws for Monarch as he passes the turn. TY plays a Clifftop Retreat, and instead of casting Shadowfax again, he plays a Professional Facebreaker. TY moves to combat, and he sends 6 in the sky with Zerium to Gian to steal the Monarchy, and a 2/2 Griffin to Gerald. Propaganda saving my face. Woohoo! TY creates 2 treasures and 2 griffins, and this triggers Rumor Gather twice, so he gets to scry and draw. Now for his second main, TY plays a Dowsing Dagger, and he gives Gian the 2 plants. TY moves to end step to draw for Monarch, and I also decide to draw with Dig Through Time, delving away cards to reduce its mana cost, and I get to look at the top 7 and keep 2. Gerald plays land for turn, and with the game all ramped up, players are really thinking through their turns now. Gerald may not be playing a Lord of the Rings deck, but he sure is playing some Lord of the Rings cards. He casts Lossarna Captain, and this triggers Theoden, giving a token double strike, and Lossarna Captain also triggers and it taps down my Thrix. Yeah, these humans got a major boost on Lord of the Rings, and it's showing right now. Gerald moves the Greaves over to the Captain before moving to combat. He pays 2 for my Propaganda as he attacks Adeline at me. Meanwhile, the Double Striker 1/1, the Captain, and the 4 Vanilla 1/1s all go at TY. Adeline triggers, and 3 1/1s coming into play, attacking us all. With the humans entering, the Captain triggers, tapping down TY's 2 Griffins and the Facebreaker. Theoden also triggers, giving double strike to Adeline, the Captain, and the 1 token going at me. Now Adeline is a 10-4 at this point, and so this is 20 damage going at my face, plus 2 more from the soldier. I have no blockers, but thanks to As Foretold, I cast Dismember, giving Adeline -5/-5. Gian blocks a 1/1 with a 0/2 plant, and Rumor Gatherer blocks the Lossarna Captain. After all of that, I take 2, TY takes 6, and Gerald becomes the Monarch. He moves to end step and he draws a card. As Foretold goes up to 4 on my upkeep, and for my first main, I use it to play the One Ring for free. I tap it to draw a card, and I got a Secret Rendezvous, nothing too helpful right now. I play a Swamp, and then I cast Diluvian Primordial, a Boomer All-Star that I swear to this day still does a lot of work. I cast TY's Path on his own Zerium, I cast Gian's Ancestral Visions to draw 3, and I cast Dire Tactics on King Theoden, losing 3 life. I then cast Sensei's Divining Top, and I swing Thrix at Gerald to get the Monarch, dealing him 4 damage. I pass the turn, and I get to draw a card. Gian plays Arid Mesa, and he cracks it. In response, TY casts an Archivist of Ogma, and he draws a card and gains a life as Gian searches out yet another OG duel, Plateau. He upticks Ren to get the Arid Mesa back, Cloth is triggers, and Gian exiles the land from my graveyard, floating 1. He summons Aragorn from the command zone, and General Rokirik creates a Golem. Gian also plays an Oko, Thief of Crowns, while creating another Golem. Then Aragorn triggers, so Gian scries 2 and gives +4/+4 to Clothis, who has now come online. Entering combat, Clothis and 3 Golems go at TY, mainly because they can't attack me. Thank you, One Ring. TY blocks Clothis but takes the rest, taking 12, bringing him down to 14. On the second main, Oko turns my Diluvian Primordial into a Vanilla Elk, and he passes the turn to TY.
Oh, nice. On curve. Temple of the False God.
Temple of the False God, right on time.
Set up.
Approve.
Set up.
It's an ancient tomb.
Janktown special.
Shadowfax re-enters the battlefield, and he equips it with a Dowsing Dagger. It's now 6/5. He enters combat, and he sends 2 Griffins back at Gian, while a Griffin and Shadowfax goes at Gerald. With the Horse's trigger on the stack, TY cheats in Archon of Coronation, snatching the Monarchy from me, and he then sends it at Gian. Gerald takes 8 while Gian takes 9, and this creates TY 2 treasures, and he also flips his dagger into a Gilded Lotus land. On his second main, he casts Drum Bellower, which gives his team pseudo-vigilance. He then equips them all onto Shadowfax, and then passes the turn to draw for Monarch. TY and Gerald both untap, and Lossarna Captain creates a 1/1 soldier on the upkeep. This triggers the Captain, and he taps down the Archon of Coronation. Gerald plays a City of Brass, risky land when you're at low life, and he casts Rising of the Day, another Lord of the Rings card. Gerald plays Timna the Weaver, and the Captain taps down Shadowfax. Timna swings at Gian for 3, and he uses the plant to block. Gerald gains 3 life, bringing him back up to 14, and for his second main, Gerald uses the City of Brass, and he takes 1, and he uses it to activate Skull Clamp, drawing him 2. On his end step, I activate my top and peek at the top 3, before realizing that I'm pretty much gonna draw all of these from the One Ring, but nonetheless, I think I was able to dig out a win con. I take the 1 in my upkeep from the One Ring, and here I go. I'm gonna go for it. I cast Sheoldred, and I tap the One Ring and draw 2 as I gain 4, and I then use my free spell from As Foretold to cast the Secret Rendezvous, drawing Gian and myself 3 cards. He loses 6 and I gain 6, and then I play a land and I pay 4 to cast Whispering Madness. It's a wheel effect, and since I have 9 cards in hand, thanks to Sheoldred, when my opponents draw 9, they'll also take 18. No one has any responses, and I take my first win here on Janktown. And that's it for this episode. We recorded this a while back when Lord of the Rings just came out, and so this is our first night, playing with the One Ring. Now before this game, we actually had an unrecorded game where Gian played his own One Ring, and he won that game as well. And man, the ring does feel busted. Yes, it draws, but the protection for the turn cycle is pretty crazy, especially in casual. Anyway, if you enjoyed the game, be sure to tap that like button and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the decks, both Saruman and Shadowfax are on the channel right now. The link's in the description down below. Stay inspired, friends, and I'll see you next time.